No one can keep a secret forever. Marlene and Bill Major are young lovers who appear to be living in bliss.
They seemed happy as larks to everyone around them.
But behind closed doors, this wholesome family is anything but.
When everything really started coming to light, everybody was just kind of flabbergasted.
Don't touch me!
When a house built on lies starts to crumble,
that is maybe the darkest secret you could keep.
The consequences are horrifying.
I can't fathom anything worse than a human being can do.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the evil secrets involved in this case are 10 to the 10th degree.
Soon, every dirty little secret will be revealed. It's 1980, and Bill Major and his young wife Marlene are dedicated parents raising 2 children in Boone County, Kentucky.
It was kind of a small town feel where you knew your neighbors and talked to them.
You do everything that little kids want to do, and you have no cause for concern or fear. It was a great way to grow up.
The Majors' life is simple, but what they lack in money, they make up for in country charm and all-American good looks. It's what first drew them to each other, despite their 10-year age gap.
Marlene was a beautiful young woman. Everyone called her Blondie. He was much older and had dark hair and, you know, was very appealing to her that he was actually interested in her.
He knew how to treat a woman. He showered her with attention and affection and treated her like a queen.
Bill supports the family by running his own auto repair shop.
The business itself was called B&B Automotive, that stood for Bill and Blondie.
He was known to help anyone who was stranded on the roadway, so he was known to be trusty and hardworking. If you needed help, he was the first person you would call.
While Bill's at his shop, Marlene's home with their children, Drew and Lana.
She cooked, she cleaned, she took care of the kids. Always thought she looked like an angel. She had that long, straight, blonde hair, and she always had a smile.
They have a little family business. They have a nice little place out in the country, 2 healthy kids. What more could you want?
Not a thing. But on October 13th, 1980, their idyllic country life comes to an abrupt end. Local police get a visit from a frantic Bill Major. His wife, Marlene, has gone missing.
Her car isn't there. Nobody seems to know where she is. He is worried sick about what's happened to her. This is very unlike her.
Marlene just sort of vanished in the middle of the night for no reason. No note, no evidence that she was planning to leave. It was just a mystery.
My concern is that she met someone and then did something to her, you know what I'm saying?
Bill tells police he's afraid Marlene's been hurt or abducted by another man. Why? Because the woman he married is more than she seems. In addition to being a loving wife and mother, she also likes to socialize with the guys. And sometimes she gives them the wrong idea.
Marlene was a hot little 20-something who was just coming into her own. She loved attention, so she liked to flirt with some of the guys.
She's an attractive woman. She flirts.
Bill tells police she doesn't mean anything by it, but could somebody else have perhaps mistaken her intentions?
She gives people the wrong impression, you know. I'm just scared that one of these guys got carried away.
Could she have sent the wrong signal to the wrong guy?
To Marlene, it may be innocent flirting, but to someone else, it could be a tease, and they don't like to be toyed with.
Police want to know, if there's anyone in particular Bill suspects might have harmed Marlene.
I mean, these truckers come through here on the highway.
Who did she flirt with that perhaps she shouldn't have? Bill puts his head to it. Very recently, he had seen his wife flirting with a truck driver who passed through town. Bill thinks that maybe this truck driver could have been the person to leave with his wife.
She was at the bar. When I got there, she was talking to this guy.
But beyond a vague description of the man,
God, I don't know. This big, scary guy, tattoos.
Bill isn't able to give police anything more to go on.
He didn't even have information about a company name on the truck or what color the truck was. Just a general idea of someone that he saw her with.
Investigators see no signs of foul play inside the Major's house.
There was nothing that would cause people to be overtly suspicious of her disappearance. No body, there was no blood, nothing of that nature.
So police check local trucker hangouts looking for clues. But no one's seen Marlene hanging around with any drivers. In fact, no one in town seems to have seen Marlene for days. And when investigators speak to her friends,
So why do you think she might be missing?
they begin to suspect that may be intentional.
Her relationship with Bill isn't exactly great.
Rumor has it, Marlene may have left Bill on purpose.
To the average outsider, this looked like a normal home, but I think there were lots of secrets behind closed doors that people didn't know about.
What is the matter with you? You're so pathetic.
Marlene shared only to her closest confidants that things were not going well in the home.
I'm trying, Marlene.
Try
Come on.
harder.
You need me, Marlene.
It seems Marlene is miserable.
If I knew you were gonna be like this, I wouldn't have married you.
She often complains that Bill is never around because he's working long hours. She's lonely and bored.
They aren't really intimate anymore.
And talk is, this foxy young housewife has lost interest in her husband.
Marlene was only in her 20s. She was saddled down already with a husband and 2 children. Perhaps it was just too much responsibility. When you're that young, you want to be carefree, reckless, impulsive. You want to live. You want to have fun. Maybe she got tired of playing a housewife.
And if that's the case, maybe Marlene's been doing more than just flirting with men.
Maybe she found a lover that could satisfy all her needs and more and ran off.
She sacrificed a good part of her youth to be a wife and a mother. Perhaps the stress forced her to run away, sow her wild oats.
They could see how something like that could happen if a housewife was bored.
If Marlene's run off with a truck driver, nobody in town knows who it might be. But a friend says there is a man in her life police should speak to.
There's this guy, Glenn, that's been staying at their house.
A house guest named Glenn.
Bill, thank you so much for picking me up. I don't know what I would have done.
Bill met Glenn when Glenn's car broke down on the side of the road. Glenn ended up becoming very good friends with Bill and ended up moving in with the Majors for a while.
It's not the kind of thing everybody would do, but this is just like Bill Major to be this hospitable.
Glenn's been living with the Majors for months.
There seemed to be more and more repairs, so his stay was extended.
He's even alone with Marlene while Bill's at work.
Glenn is around Marlene all the time. She's beautiful. She may be dissatisfied with her marriage. Who would blame Glenn if he had impure thoughts? Police want to know what the nature of Glenn's relationship is with Marlene.
If being alone with Bill's luscious little wife was too much temptation to bear, could Glenn have repaid Bill's hospitality by seducing Marlene right out from under his nose?
It takes a lot of brass to sleep with the wife of your friend who's putting you up and helped you out.
But if Glenn's run off with Marlene, where are they now? Investigators go looking for the handsome house guest, but are surprised to find they don't have to look very far. And what Glenn has to say to them is even more scandalous than they anticipated.
Touch me!
Detectives start piecing together Marlene Major's life and find secrets much more sinister than sex.
I figured out from that moment I couldn't trust anybody.
Detectives in Boone County, Kentucky have been told that the missing Marlene Major may have run off with Glenn, a house guest her husband Bill invited home after his car broke down. But when detectives go looking for Glenn, they find he's still at the Major's house. Clearly, he hasn't run off with anyone. But where's Marlene? Detectives confront Glenn with the town gossip, and he makes a bold confession.
We immediately had feelings for each other.
Glenn admits to investigators that yes, they were having an affair. It was hard to stop himself. She's so beautiful. She's so flirtatious. He was immediately attracted to her, and he couldn't help himself.
This was the ultimate betrayal. Bill had moved Glenn into his home, put a roof over his head, put food on his plate. And this is how he repays his generosity and his kindness, by bedding his wife?
But Glenn says this is more than just a fiery fling with a desperate housewife. He and Marlene are deeply in love.
I've never loved anyone the way I love you.
She was even going to leave Bill for him.
I just want to be with you.
Let's just go.
She was going to get a divorce, they were going to get married, they were going to raise us. Glenn was willing to take her and her children and start a life together.
But he's still here, and she's nowhere to be found. Detectives want to know why. The live-in lover's answer is that Marlene disappeared before they had the chance to run away. That rings alarm bells.
We have this guy who 6 or 7 months ago shows up in town, starts carrying on with the local mechanic's wife, and then she up and disappears. It was suspicious.
If Marlene suddenly had second thoughts about leaving Bill for Glenn,
We're gonna go away. I need time.
could their passionate love affair have crashed and burned with violent results?
You are gonna regret this if you keep toying with me, Marlene. You're not happy with Bill.
Glenn really wanted Marlene to leave her husband and her kid. But if he were disappointed when she wouldn't, would that frustration and disappointment be enough for Glenn to do something rash?
I will not be played with like this.
This was a dangerous love triangle.
You don't understand. I need more time.
Stop toying with me.
Perhaps Glenn did something after she ended the affair.
Glenn insists to police that he and Marlene were perfectly happy and looking forward to starting a new life together.
We were planning on running away together.
Glenn had no reservations telling law enforcement about his relationship with Marlene because he felt like he had nothing to hide.
And his affection for Marlene seems genuine.
He's very much in love with Marlene. Glenn seems to be truly worried about where Marlene had gone. It didn't seem like he knew.
All I want to do is find out where she is right now. Officer, any help you need, I will do absolutely anything to find her.
Perhaps Glenn's telling the truth, and he truly doesn't know what's become of Marlene. But if all he's guilty of is falling for a married woman, police wonder, what might Bill have done if he discovered his feisty young wife was cheating on him? Could he have exploded like a powder keg and taken it out on Marlene?
It'll be the last mistake you ever make.
The fact that Marlene was having an affair definitely raised red flags that Bill might have found out and killed his wife.
Police bring Glenn in for more formal questioning. Did Bill suspect what was going on under his own roof? Glenn's response can hardly be believed. He claims that not only does Bill know about their affair, he's the one who encouraged them to have sex in the first place.
He left them together alone many times, creating scenarios for them to get closer to each other and encouraging a relationship between the two of them.
If he saw Marlene relaxing, Bill said, maybe you should go join her in bed. Bill was seeming to push him towards having an affair with his wife.
You know, she's taking a nap downstairs right now. I don't know if you want to go check on her. Just make sure she's all right.
Detectives are in disbelief. Why would Bill possibly allow such a thing?
You don't go sharing your wife's sugar with anyone who just knocks on your door. Perhaps he was impotent and couldn't satisfy her anymore. Or maybe this was some sort of sex game.
Does he have some sort of fetish where he wants to see his wife sleep with another man? That could be his little secret.
Or is Glenn telling tall tales to cover up something sordid? Police go back to Bill Major to find out the truth. And that's when the case takes another turn for the bizarre. Bill readily admits that he knows what's been going on in his bed while he's at work.
I didn't want to tell you about it because it was embarrassing.
Bill says that Glenn's story is true. He knew about the affair that Glenn was having with his wife.
But Bill's adamant that things didn't go down the way Glenn said they did. He says he never condoned the affair.
What's the truth here? I'm telling you the truth.
Then he makes a startling admission, something he'd been hoping he could keep quiet. Bill Major paints a shocking picture of his missing young wife.
Why can't you be a man?
And it may finally reveal where she's gone.
There was not what I would call a love triangle. It would be a shape much different than that.
Bill Major, husband of the missing Marlene Major, has admitted to investigators that he knew his wife was having an affair with Glenn, the stranded motorist who's been living on their property.
Here, my dad helps this guy out, pulls him off the interstate, gives him a place to stay, gives him a job, works on his car, and he starts sleeping with his wife.
It's amazing that you would even think to have an affair with the wife of the man who basically rescued you stranded on the road.
But Bill tells investigators he never condoned the affair, as Glenn claims.
You let this man sleep with your wife?
I didn't let him sleep with my wife. My marriage wasn't a perfect one, all right?
He just has an embarrassing secret that left him too ashamed to take action.
You know, it's my wife.
Bill admits that Marlene told him, "You're not satisfying my needs."
Why can't you be a man?
It seems the town mechanic isn't quite the stallion in bed he thinks he is.
You can't satisfy me. Why can't you do anything?
At least not in the eyes of his sexy young wife.
You are so pathetic. I can't believe it.
And when he discovered Marlene was looking for satisfaction with Glenn instead, he was too embarrassed to do anything about it.
Bill had been very proud to have caught the most beautiful girl in town. And then when it comes crashing down, he can't satisfy her. She's not in love with him. Well, that's very emasculating. He was humiliated. He didn't want to say anything.
Pathetic.
And Bill says it gets worse. If Marlene hasn't run off with Glenn, there are plenty of other candidates out there. Because Glenn wasn't her only secret sexual partner.
Bill had suspicions that she was running around on him, that there were other relationships.
Remember, Marlene got married very young. It's not unreasonable to think that if someone is having an affair, that they could be having 2 affairs.
It seems Marlene has a thirst for sex that no one lover can quench. And if she can't get her fill in Boone County, maybe she's gone looking for love someplace else.
You're talking about a woman who's running around on her husband. And so law enforcement just perceived it as a situation where maybe she was just unhappy and she just decided to leave.
If that's the case, investigators may have no way to find her.
In 1980, if a woman wanted to disappear, it was not a very hard thing to do. There was no way to substantiate where Marlene might be. No cell phone to contact her on, no way to follow credit card activity.
It would have been very easy to walk out to the interstate, hitchhiked, or gone to the truck stop and gotten a ride with a trucker and be on the other side of the country in a few days.
Bill doesn't know who Marlene's other lovers might be, so police turn to her friends and family.
Is there anybody else she might have left with?
But the idea that she ran off with another man doesn't sit well with them.
I mean, this isn't like her.
Marlene may not have been the perfect wife, they say, but she was a devoted mother.
People in town, they knew my mother. They knew that there was no way on God's green earth, if there was a breath left in her body, that she would walk away from her children.
She loves her kids so much. I'm really worried, actually.
Friends are convinced Marlene's the victim of foul play. But there's not a shred of proof a crime's even been committed.
Investigators looked for evidence of foul play, but didn't find anything.
And if Marlene's run off, she hasn't taken much with her.
She had left her purse, her medication, her jewelry, all of her clothing, but there was no evidence to substantiate the idea that anything violent had happened.
Days go by. The search for Marlene Major stalls. Questions remain unanswered. And convinced that his wife isn't coming back, Bill Major decides it's time to get on with his life.
I have very vivid memories of my father packing clothes and telling us we were leaving.
Where's Mommy?
I already told you, Mommy is not coming back.
And he said she didn't want to be with us anymore and that we were never going to see her again. We weren't going to talk about her anymore. And it was just done.
With no sign of his wife, Bill moves his kids to Rhode Island so they can be closer to his family.
He said that he was just grief-stricken over the fact that his wife had left him and that he needed to move back home to have help with the 2 children.
Bill wants to save his children the embarrassment of living in a town where everybody knows their mother abandoned them.
Months pass, and with each day that goes by with no word from Marlene, her family and friends grow more certain that she's met a horrible fate.
They wanted to believe in their hearts that she was somewhere. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, the family knew that something very bad had happened to her.
And 1 year after she vanished, a grisly discovery only deepens the mystery of what happened to Marlene Major. A long-buried secret is unearthed.
We were kids.
One that finally reveals why someone may have wanted Marlene to disappear.
When everything really started coming to light, everybody was just kind of flabbergasted.
It's been a year since Marlene Major vanished without a trace from her Kentucky home. Her husband, Bill, along with their 2 children, Lana and Drew, now live in Rhode Island with Bill's parents.
The explanation was that your mom ran off with another man, she's not coming back, you'll never see her again, and that's that.
Where's Mommy?
Mommy is not coming back. Now stop asking me.
You just kind of go with it. You know, I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's not like you can change anything.
Back in Kentucky, investigators are out of leads and close to giving up on ever knowing what became of Marlene. But then, someone makes a gruesome discovery on some farmland outside of town. A partial human skull.
When you find a skull, people immediately look to see who's missing, and Marlene was on the top of that list because it was nearby where she lived.
The skull itself was found probably about 2 miles as the crow flies from where the Major home was.
Forensic analysis shows that whoever it is died a violent death. The skull is full of bullet holes. Authorities worry these could be Marlene's remains.
The state anthropologist at the time was able to give general characteristics of who the person would be, general age, a general size, and it confirmed the suspicions that it was potentially Marlene Major.
If this is Marlene, well, then we finally know that she didn't run off with a secret lover.
But there's a problem.
There was no way to make a positive identification.
The skull's jawbone has been intentionally broken off, taking with it any hope of determining to whom it belongs. In 1981, DNA testing isn't yet a resource crime fighters can turn to.
In the 1980s, they used your dental records to confirm your identity.
Everything from here down was gone. All the teeth had been removed. No teeth, no identification.
After a year of waiting for a break in the case, investigators are left right back where they started.
Everyone was hoping the discovery of the skull would solve the mystery of what happened to Marlene. It didn't.
But it is a eureka moment for Marlene's former lover, Glenn. A story about a skull missing its jawbone rings a bell.
I know what happened.
One he feels compelled to share with police.
One night, we were knocking back a few beers and, telling road stories.
It's a disturbing story about Bill Major.
Bill was a storyteller and had a lot of stories and all sort of tall tales about things that he had done and things that he had seen.
And according to Glenn, a few weeks before Marlene's disappearance, Bill told a particularly damning story.
The perfect murder? It's possible. You could do it.
Bill bragged that he knew how to commit the perfect murder.
All right, you take the head off of the body.
All it would take, he said, was to remove anything from the body that would allow cops to make a positive ID.
According to Bill Major, the perfect murder would be one where the head would be separated from the body and the teeth removed.
Dental records. That's how they always get them.
So that the person could never be identified.
He kind of said it as a joke, and I didn't put two and two together till just now.
At the time, Glenn thought this was just barroom bravado, but when the skull appears, it all comes back to him.
How to get away with the perfect murder. And you're scot-free.
To Glenn, this all makes sense. Bill is behind this murder.
But police aren't certain how to take this information. Glenn's story is quite a coincidence.
Who knows if police can actually believe Glenn? Glenn has an axe to grind against Bill. He was Marlene's lover, Pinning it on Bill could be very convenient. The story fits a little too well.
And nothing about Bill Major's character leads anyone to believe he's capable of murder.
To everyone in the community, Bill was a perfect dad and provider. He was a person who cared very much so for his wife and his children.
And what motive would Bill have had to carry out such a violent fantasy? It could be Marlene's affair with Glenn, but then why kill her and not him too? Detectives are convinced they're still missing one critical secret. But with no new leads, they're unable to fathom what it could be.
The investigation into Marlene's disappearance was ice cold. It was forgotten about. Bill had moved away, and life went on in Boone County.
Years pass, but for Marlene Major's children, Lana and Drew, the pain doesn't fade as they get older, because they have a shocking secret of their own.
We were kids.
And as they get older, they're finally able to spur detectives back into action with a horrifying revelation that could be a motive for murder.
Bill's own children get the courage to finally tell authorities a horrific family secret they've been hiding.
Bill Major isn't the doting father he appears to be. He's been sexually abusing his children for years.
As a child, living in a household where all of those things are going on and you can't tell anyone, you have to keep this to yourself for your own safety.
The life that those children led is a nightmare that I don't think any of us can imagine.
I mean, that had to be like living with the devil.
It takes a lot of personal courage and a lot of character to step up and tell that secret.
He has to pay.
When everything finally did come out in the open, the explosion of shock and rage from people was just astounding.
Bill is arrested and plea bargains his way to 15 years in prison for abusing his children. And now detectives in Boone County, Kentucky think they finally have the missing piece to the puzzle that is Marlene Major's disappearance.
Investigators now know that Bill was molesting his kids. This makes them wonder, did Marlene know this? And if she did, is it enough to make Bill kill her?
But suspicion alone isn't enough to charge Bill with murder.
There is still really no evidence of a crime involving Marlene. It's very frustrating for investigators. How are they going to solve this case?
Without a positive ID on the skull or a confession, Bill will do his time and before long be back out on the streets.
The good news is he's behind bars. The bad news is authorities have a ticking time bomb on their hands.
Thinking about what Bill Major was capable of when he was free scares me. I think he'd be capable of anything.
The years tick by, and detectives remain helpless to prove that Bill murdered Marlene. Without a new break in the case, it seems this psychopath will soon be set free.
The family feared that he would get away with the perfect murder.
By, 1986, 1987, everybody pretty much just gave up hope. We knew that there was nothing else we could do.
But there is one person out there with the power to close the case.
I know who did it.
Only to do it, he's going to have to turn on someone he once loved. Bill Major is released from prison. Can anyone stop him before he strikes again?
If I have my way, he'll die in prison. That's what I promised him.
You are so evil.
It's 1996, 16 years since the presumed murder of Marlene Major. The prime suspect, her husband Bill, has been released from jail after serving 10 years of his 15-year sentence for molesting his own children.
It's horrifying to think what this man did. He is gonna walk the streets again. And the scary part is, he could live right next door.
The only way for police to get Bill back behind bars is to prove he murdered his wife. But all detectives have on him is circumstantial evidence.
You definitely see that he had the motive to kill his wife. The question is, did he have the opportunity? Did he have the means?
As far as the police were concerned, short of a confession, I don't think that they held out much hope of ever convicting him for her death.
It looks as if Bill Major has gotten away with murder. But his daughter, Lana, refuses to let him off easy.
I know that you did this.
I called him. I told him that if it was the last thing I ever did, I would see to it that the last breath he ever took would be behind bars.
You are so evil.
He pretty much said, "There's no way. You're not gonna get me for this."
Look, Lana, if you think I'm going down for this, you are wrong. You're dead wrong.
I was like, okay, game on.
I know that he killed our mom.
Lana pressures authorities to keep investigating her father.
I lived, I ate, I breathed, I slept that case.
She gets them to re-examine all the old evidence. And when they do, they discover something that was overlooked years ago. A disturbing entry in Marlene's diaries. She discovered that her husband had been sexually abusing their children.
I got up early this morning and caught Bill with him. He tried to hide what they were doing, but I know what I saw.
Marlene's world must have crashed down around her.
Don't touch me!
Here's somebody that she thought she'd spend her life with, and now he's hurting the children.
You are disgusting!
And that's not all Marlene had discovered.
There were other young boys in the community that he had sexually assaulted.
Marrying someone and you not really knowing who they were, to be deceived that way by your spouse just has to be the ultimate betrayal.
How could you hurt our kids?
Now police know for certain that Marlene had learned Bill's depraved secret. Her prince was a predator.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna make sure you get everything you deserve.
And whether she threatened to go to the police or tried to escape with the kids, they're convinced Bill murdered her to keep his filthy secret from being exposed.
It's hard to imagine how a young woman like Marlene lived with the secret that she did. But the most important thing to her was protecting her children, to try to protect them from the monster that lived in the same four walls as them.
Marlene was going to use this information and expose Bill, send him to jail for this horrible crime. And that is dangerous enough that for a man like Bill, he would come at her.
But that knowledge still isn't enough. All police have is circumstantial evidence and a skull they can't even prove is Marlene's. Still more years pass.
It looks as though Bill Major is going to get away with murder.
Until someone unexpected suddenly comes forward with the smoking gun that will close the case for good. It's Bill's own father. He says he knows what happened to Marlene all those years ago.
He confessed to me he killed his wife.
Bill Major admitted to his own father that he had killed his wife, Marlene. He said that he had gotten into an argument with her and that he had killed her and that he had dumped her body.
Look, the cops are calling me. I don't know what to tell them, and now I need your help.
It's no longer hearsay, it's no longer rumor. Here is somebody who has heard it from Bill's own mouth. He killed Marlene.
I did it, Dad. I killed her.
He's made this confession.
Yes, it was me.
The only thing I could think of was, we got him.
Bill's father is horrified by what his son has done. And he's willing to testify, even if it means putting his own boy back in prison for life. But it's still one man's word against another. So it's up to the crime lab to change that. 2 decades after the skull was found, the technology to test it for DNA is now available. The results come back positive. The skull belongs to Marlene Major.
The family of Marlene Major finally had hope that there was actually a light at the end of the tunnel.
Faced with overwhelming evidence and his own father's testimony, Bill Major finally spills his secret. He says Marlene confronted him with his ghastly crimes and threatened to turn him in.
And I'm gonna make sure that you rot in jail for it.
Because if you threaten me, you're gonna regret it.
I'm threatening you right now.
And that pushed the dangerous child abuser to desperation.
He had kept his monstrous acts a secret for many years, and now Marlene was going to expose him. Bill was not going to let that happen.
It takes a jury less than an hour to decide his fate. In 2003, 23 years after he murdered his wife, Bill Major is sentenced to life in prison.
On that day when the sentence was handed down, I finally felt that she was getting the justice that she deserved.
Marlene Major was just a young girl who fell for the allure of an older man. But trying to protect her children from his terrible secrets ultimately cost her her life.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the evil secrets involved in this case are 10 to the 10th degree.
Bill hurt far too many people in far too many different ways to keep his crimes a secret. And those kinds of secrets always bubble up to the surface.
It's not something you get over. It's not something that's finished. It's something you deal with every day for the rest of your life. But he got as much as they could give him, and I was satisfied with that.